Hey guys, Jimmo here, and today we've got a Tricoat Red lined up. We're going to be painting a new fender and bumper end while blending some of that color into the door. So to start things off, I'm going to be using a sealer over the new fender. With this color in particular, it calls for a very specific shade of gray to be applied, which is actually closer to the white side. What I'm going to be doing is masking off the door so I can apply a nice even coat to the fender, a nice wet coat without worrying about overspray on the door. And then I'll unmask it and then blend that sealer into the door. Now that's going to keep my overspray confined and give me a nice uniform color to blend across. It's not always necessary, but if your color ends up being on the more transparent side of things, you're going to wish that you brought that sealer into the door. Otherwise, you might end up with a fender and door that don't match each other. Now that that's dried for about 15-20 minutes, we can start applying our base coat. We're going to want to cover our sealer entirely and bring it slightly beyond with each coat. And we want to be careful not to let that paint fly down the blend panel. We want to keep it controlled and avoid angling our gun towards the back of the door. We'll want to let up on the trigger rather than angle the gun too much to help fade out the color. It can take up to 3 coats generally to cover, but with any Tricoat you want to make sure your sealer is completely covered before moving on to the next step. Each coat needs to dry for about 5 to 10 minutes in between, and when you're done you can shut off the lights and then check everything over with a bright LED to make sure that it's covered. We're using our Wacom carbon fiber paint guns today, and I know they're a bit on the pricey side. I've shown other videos where I've been spraying with lower end guns, and you can get great results with them as long as you follow the steps properly. Now that we're done applying our first round of color, we're going to go ahead and apply the mid coat, which is a candy red. People tend to overthink these 3-stage colors, and I know there really isn't actually a lot to them. The main things you need to remember is give yourself an adequate blending space and make sure that you have done a letdown panel in advance, which will show you exactly how many coats of mid coat you're going to need to match the color. And I've done some great videos on that you can check out as well. Now we'll continue blending out the same way, but in this case we need to take our candy mid coat past the last coat of our base coat. So any additional coats that we put on will need to continue to extend beyond the previous one. You can see that since we're not blending the color up the pillar or into the hood, we're going to need a pretty close matching color. Okay, so now that I'm happy with the color, I'm gonna go ahead and put on my clear. So in this case, we've actually got a general purpose economy clear, which is going on this job. It's gonna give it a pretty similar to factory look, but I prefer obviously working with those higher end clears that give you a crazy amount of gloss, but not every job affords you that luxury. And I think that, for the most part, the general population can't really spot out the difference. On my first coat of clear, you're going to notice I'm going to let up on the edge near the back of my blend panel because I want to avoid from too much material piling up there and potentially altering the look, and also avoid getting a heavy edge. After a flash is off, I'll hit it again and then bring that clear all the way to the back end of that panel, and that will be it. This right here. All that's left to do is give this a bake and send it off for reassembly. There'll be a few spots that I'll probably need to polish out tomorrow. I'm a bit out of practice. It's been a while. It's the first job I've sprayed in quite a bit, so I need some time to get myself maybe dialed back in. But that's gonna do it for today. Please drop me a line, let me know what you think, and subscribe to the channel for some more great videos ahead.